What if I told you that behind some of hip-hop's biggest careers were marriages that quietly, viciously destroyed them? Yeah, I said it. While the world was vibing to platinum albums and sold-out tours behind closed doors, wives were quietly plotting career collapses, financial wipeouts, and public humiliation that left their husbands gasping for relevancy. Think Eminem, whose raw rage on tracks like Kim wasn't just lyrical genius, it was therapy for a marriage that nearly ended in tragedy. Or Kanye West, whose union with Kim Kardashian didn't just unravel personally, it stripped him of billions and turned Yeezy from cultural god to social media punchline. And don't even get me started on Cardi B and Offset, where cheating scandals, divorce filings, and Instagram explosions turned a Migos member into the ultimate footnote in his own story. These aren't just relationships gone wrong. They are full-blown career assassinations. From alleged abuse to explosive social media meltdowns, from multi-million-dollar divorces to public tantrums that make TMZ look like local news, the chaos is unreal. How much of a rapper's downfall is love? How much is betrayal? And who's really pulling the strings behind the scenes? Buckle up, because we're diving into the shocking world of rappers' wives who wrecked their husbands' careers. And trust me, nothing is off-limits. The world of rappers isn't just about glamour and glitter, stage lights, and platinum plaques. Behind the scenes, there are hidden stories that can destroy careers and leave the public with nothing but drama and scandal to snack on. Let's start with Eminem. When Marshall Mathers rose from the streets of Detroit to become Slim Shady, he probably thought his talent alone would define him. But there was already another force quietly shaping his life, Kim Scott, in 1988. When 15-year-old Eminem and 13-year-old Kim began their relationship, it wasn't just young love. It was the beginning of a codependent chaos. The gritty streets of Detroit, small apartments, and troubled pasts bound them together. They probably didn't realize that when you put your emotions into the public domain, it doesn't just stay in your lyrics or albums, it eats away at your real life. By 1995. When Haley Jade Mathers was born, they were probably fooling themselves into thinking their toxic energy was normal. In 1999, when the Slim Shady LP exploded, Marshall's career skyrocketed, and their marriage was finalized on June 14, 1999. The picture became even more complicated. The clash between Marshall's lyrics and Kim's emotions wasn't just a household problem. It became one of hip-hop's most controversial chapters. Marshall immortalized his rage in tracks like 97 Bonnie and Clyde and Kim. These songs weren't just music, they became emotional weapons. Unleashing a tsunami of public humiliation on Kim in 2007, Kim admitted she had hoped marriage would keep Marshall grounded, faithful. But every argument, every public diss, every substance abuse incident crushed those hopes completely. The peak of public humiliation came in 2000, during the Up in Smoke tour. Marshall performed on stage with a blow-up doll representing Kim. Fans saw it as entertainment. But for Kim, it was sheer terror and emotional devastation. In July 2000, she threatened her own life, and amidst this toxic cycle, their first divorce was finalized in 2001, but the story didn't end there. They remarried in 2006, only to split again after 41 days. This personal drama wasn't just fodder for public fascination, it affected Marshall's career too. After Encore, his hiatus, multiple rehab stints, and a near-fatal overdose in 2007 were all direct reflections of his personal chaos. Eminem's story is a cautionary tale of how toxic love and fame can almost destroy an artist. And if Eminem's situation nearly threatened his life, Kanye West and Kim Kardashian took public spectacle to an entirely new level. In 2014, when Kanye married Kim, the world assumed this was the ultimate power couple. But this union became a public, financial, and career disaster in full view. Bipolar episodes, public meltdowns, a presidential run, and personal breakdowns were enough to reduce Kanye's billionaire status to a reported $400 million net worth. Deals with Adidas were terminated, partnerships with Gap and Vogue ended, and media backlash irreversibly damaged his reputation. Cardi B and Offset's story was equally explosive. Their secret marriage in 2017, cheating rumors, social media explosions, and divorce filings put Offset's solo career completely in the shadows. As Cardi's star rose, Offset's numbers crashed. Public scandals and social media controversies kept the Migos member from gaining attention beyond media coverage. Public meltdowns, Instagram rants, and reconciliations highlighted how a relationship could directly manipulate an artist's brand and career trajectory. Big Sean and Gene Eco's decade-long relationship also offered a subtle but real example. Joint albums, creative collaborations, and public appearances initially boosted their image. But as personal tensions surfaced and ultimatums for commitment arose, Big Sean's artistic edge softened. Fans and critics noticed that post-2017, his style shifted toward a relationship rapper persona, hard-hitting anthems replaced by emotional, love-centered bars. Monthly Spotify listeners dropped, mega hits became scarce. A clear sign of subtle career slowdown. DMX and Tashara Simmons' 16-year relationship, riddled with love, cheating, substance abuse, and alleged domestic violence, slowed the rapper's career significantly. Court filings, memoirs, and posthumous estate battles highlighted how personal chaos directly impacts business and artistic output. After 5 consecutive #1 albums, a decline, custody battles, and legal disputes emerged, showing how personal trauma and public perception can irreversibly damage a legacy. Nas and Khaleesi. Marriage and bitter divorce followed a similar trajectory. Custody battles, financial settlements, and abuse allegations created sensational headlines and intense pressure on Nas. Financial strain led to dips in creative output, and public perception shifted. His superstar image gradually became more complicated and less dominant. Chance the Rapper and Kirsten Corley's situation, where debut studio albums and marriage-focused content alienated fans, further proves that personal life directly affects artistic perception. The Big Day album's reception, critical reviews, memes, and social media mockery dulled Chance's raw edge and drastically reduced audience engagement. Jeezy and Jeannie Mai faced domestic violence allegations, child neglect accusations, and ongoing legal drama, which overshadowed Jeezy's public image. Social media revelations, prenup disputes, and court filings visibly impacted his brand and music sales. Fans and critics alike noticed that tabloid coverage and legal chaos relegated music and tours to secondary importance. Even amicable breakups, like Corday and Naomi Osaka's, illustrate how balancing high-profile careers and family life subtly affects an artist's output and public perception. Scheduling conflicts, co-parenting responsibilities, and social media scrutiny slowed Corday's creative output, and audience engagement gradually declined. All these stories reveal a shocking pattern, whether it's toxic marriages, public meltdowns, cheating scandals, or financial disputes. These rappers' personal lives are directly and devastatingly impacting their careers. One thing is clear: hip-hop's glamour is only skin-deep. Beneath the surface lies drama, betrayal, and calculated destruction that shake billion-dollar careers and leave fans with nothing but spectacle, and this pattern will explode further in this video, with even darker, more shocking, and insane twists where leaked messages, social media chaos, legal battles, and public reactions will reveal how these personal relationships literally rewrote the power dynamics of the rap industry. As the smoke of scandals cleared from Eminem, Kanye, and Cardi B's explosive histories, the deeper layers of rap industry chaos started to emerge. What the public sees, Instagram posts, red carpet smiles, chart-topping albums, is only the tip of the iceberg. Behind closed doors, behind security gates, behind the perfect PR photos, there's a world of betrayal, leaks, and manipulation that has destroyed careers and reputations, sometimes permanently. Anonymous sources within record labels and management teams have revealed that some of these wives weren't just passive participants, they were strategic power players, leveraging fame, influence, and public perception like weapons. They weren't just shaping the personal lives of these rappers, they were shaping their professional destinies. Take Kim Scott with Eminem. Insiders from Detroit gossip circles claim that Kim allegedly leaked private voice memos, text messages, and arguments to media outlets during the early 2000s, sources say. She understood the media better than Marshall did. Every time he had a public meltdown, it wasn't accidental, it was a calculated escalation. These leaks didn't just humiliate Marshall, they affected endorsement deals and collaborations. Labels reportedly hesitated to invest in tours or brand partnerships because of unpredictable domestic turbulence. Friends of Marshall have said that he often felt like his life was under siege. And the emotional weight translated into missed studio sessions, delayed album drops, and erratic public appearances. Then there's Kim Kardashian and Kanye West, a marriage that was hyped as media perfection but quickly turned into a career cage. Sources close to Kanye's inner circle revealed that Kim allegedly consulted high-profile PR strategists to maximize narrative control over Kanye's public image, but sometimes control meant manipulation. One anonymous manager said, every time Kanye made a controversial statement or wore something outrageous, Kim's team knew it would dominate headlines for a week. But it also destabilized Kanye's business relationships, brands, investors, even fashion collaborations. Some deals were quietly canceled because of the chaos. Fans saw viral moments, tweets deleted mid-crisis, and YouTube compilations, but behind the scenes, billions in potential revenue were being affected. Offset's career hit a particularly bizarre stall during his turbulent marriage to Cardi B. Social media analysts claim that Cardi's own explosive online persona, combined with publicized cheating rumors, created a constant news cycle that overshadowed Offset's music. Record executives reportedly referred to this as market distraction. One insider joked, "You couldn't get a press run out for Migos if there was a Cardi post trending." Even collaborations were delayed because public focus was entirely off Offset. Cardi's fans adored her drama, but it unintentionally put Offset's solo projects on ice. Album streams and ticket sales for solo shows declined, and social media chatter focused more on relationship gossip than music. Big Sean and Jhené Aiko's relationship, while more subtle, had a similarly manipulative ripple effect. Industry insiders reported that the pair's joint collaborations were initially intended to boost both artists' visibility. But as personal tensions mounted, leaks of private messages and studio disagreements began circulating. Fans started interpreting every lyric as a personal diss, one former producer said. It created an environment where Big Sean couldn't release harder-hitting tracks without it being read through the lens of his relationship. His artistic autonomy was subtly sabotaged. And it wasn't just lyrics, marketing campaigns were affected. Tour schedules became contentious, and overall momentum slowed. DMX's situation with Tashara Simmons paints an even darker picture. After his death, estate battles revealed alleged manipulation of finances, inheritance disputes, and even questionable power over contractual obligations. Sources claim that Tashara had extensive control over DMX's business decisions at times, redirecting potential collaborations or limiting certain high-profile engagements. Court documents hint at conflicts that could have affected the launch of later albums, concert bookings, and brand partnerships. In the public eye, DMX's legendary energy remained intact. But insiders saw a man constantly caught between artistic drive and domestic disruption. Nas and Callis' divorce, widely publicized for custody battles and financial disputes, had a similar effect. While Nas maintained a strong artistic presence, multiple sources allege that Callis strategically timed interviews and social media posts to coincide with album releases, ensuring maximum media scrutiny. It was a perfect storm for public perception, one anonymous music journalist revealed. Every time Nas tried to pivot creatively, personal drama overshadowed him. Industry executives reportedly advised caution in project timing, fearing that album reviews and critical reception would be tainted by ongoing media narratives. Chance, the rapper's marriage to Kirsten Corley, also came under the lens of strategic public manipulation. While Chance was initially celebrated for a fresh, independent persona, leaks of private wedding videos, behind-the-scenes studio conflicts, and marriage-focused social media content created a narrative that alienated certain sections of his fan base. Critics argued that his raw, street-level credibility was replaced with curated domestic imagery, subtly reshaping public perception. Even subtle domestic narratives can recalibrate an artist's fan base, said a digital marketing expert. Engagement metrics dropped, critical reception dipped, and suddenly chance wasn't just chance, the private life became part of the public brand. Jeezy and Jeannie Mai's messy legal battles exemplify how private disputes can have a snowball effect. Allegations of domestic violence, child neglect, and prenup disputes became fodder for viral media coverage. Sources reveal that behind-the-scenes lawyers and PR strategists were constantly negotiating how much of this could leak to tabloids, understanding fully that public perception could either tank or protect sales. Fans might forgive a song, but they rarely forgive a brand besieged by personal scandal, one insider said. Jeezy's tours, sponsorships, and collaborations all reportedly experienced subtle declines as the legal chaos dominated news cycles. Even amicable breakups, like that of Corday and Naomi Osaka, illustrate the subtle power of personal life on public persona. Scheduling conflicts, co-parenting duties, and social media exposure slowed creative output, leaving fans waiting months for content or albums. While no explosive headlines existed, insiders reported that every delayed project subtly affected momentum, streaming numbers, and promotional leverage. In the high-speed world of hip-hop, even minor delays can snowball into commercial and critical setbacks. All of these cases point to a chilling pattern. The public rarely sees the strategic chaos behind an artist's career trajectory. Leaked texts, social media rants, domestic disagreements, PR manipulations, and subtle psychological influence combine to shape public perception, brand deals, and creative output. Artists may appear in control on stage or in music videos, but private relationships, often orchestrated or influenced by partners, can act as unseen saboteurs. Careers aren't just won or lost in studios, they are maneuvered, manipulated, and sometimes destroyed in bedrooms, living rooms, and behind screens. And if this video hinted at chaos, this video exposes the mechanisms how private actions create public consequences, how personal drama becomes an industry tool, and how relationships quietly and dramatically tip the scales in an artist's favor or against them. Leaks, manipulations, and subtle sabotage have turned personal relationships into full-blown career hazards, and the fallout is often irreversible. Next, this video will dive even deeper where legal battles explode into multi-million-dollar conflicts. Social media chaos ignites viral firestorms and public backlash forces resignations, dropped endorsements, and career recalibrations. It's here that the intersection of personal life, media manipulation, and business strategy becomes explosive, and the lines between love, loyalty, and career sabotage blur into a terrifying spectacle. By the time we reach the ultimate fallout, the scale of destruction becomes undeniable. Careers that once seemed untouchable, Marshall Mathers, Kanye West, Offset, Nas were suddenly teetering on the edge, all because private relationships, personal vendettas, and publicized drama became public currency. The streets of Detroit, the Hollywood red carpets, the Instagram feeds of millions everywhere you looked, chaos was playing out like a slow-motion car crash, and insiders reveal it wasn't random. It was meticulously orchestrated by those closest to the artists. Take Eminem once more. After his 2007 near-fatal overdose, sources close to him disclosed that Kim Scott had quietly leveraged the situation, pushing certain narratives to tabloids while controlling access to their daughter. Haley, management, and labels were left scrambling. Endorsement deals and studio collaborations froze as executives feared another public implosion. Leaked emails, allegedly from Kim's side, suggested she intentionally made public statements that painted Marshall as volatile, further eroding his negotiating power with brands. A source whispered, every rehab admission, every public meltdown. It fed a story that made him dangerous, and in business, dangerous equals risky. Deals evaporated overnight. Kanye West's collapse into public chaos had similar consequences magnified by the scale of his empire. Sources allege that Kim Kardashian's PR apparatus wasn't just protective, it was controlling. During his infamous 2020 presidential campaign, insiders report that strategic leaks of emails, private texts, and even candid family disputes reached tabloids at the exact moments they would create maximum public scrutiny. The result? Partnerships with brands like Adidas faced scrutiny, investor confidence dipped, and some multi-million-dollar ventures quietly folded. Industry insiders described it as watching a billionaire unravel under a microscope that someone else is constantly polishing. Every breakdown, every Twitter rant, every controversial statement fed into a premeditated narrative of instability, a narrative carefully timed to coincide with album releases or business negotiations. Offset's career fallout from Cardi B's public theatrics wasn't limited to streaming numbers or Instagram clout. Behind the scenes, multiple sources say that his collaborators and record executives began requesting delays in projects, worried that fan outrage over personal scandals would overshadow music. Leaked text messages purportedly showed frustration among label executives. "We can't promote this album with a national scandal happening. Wait 2 weeks. Let the dust settle." Tours were postponed, sponsors hesitated, and media focus shifted entirely to the marriage saga. Social media analysts confirmed that during peak scandal weeks, Offset's search trends and Spotify streams dipped by double digits, indicating that personal drama was eclipsing professional content. Even Big Sean and Jhené Aiko weren't immune to the fallout. While initially subtle, the long-term effects became glaring by 2018. Sources within their creative circle claim that conflict over studio time and joint collaborations became so intense that labels were forced to mediate. Every lyric, every social media post, every interview became analyzed for signs of relationship tension. Critics began labeling Big Sean's post-relationship output as safe and predictable, a clear departure from his once hard-hitting persona. Industry insiders report that streaming numbers stagnated, tour tickets underperformed, and even potential collabs with high-profile artists were quietly shelved. It's a chilling example of how emotional manipulation, even when not overtly malicious, can subtly and permanently alter an artist's career trajectory. DMX's posthumous estate disputes illustrate the long shadow of personal chaos. Alleged financial mismanagement, disputes over royalties, and conflicting claims over his unreleased catalog have turned into headline after headline. Industry lawyers indicate that had Tashara Simmons exercised different discretion over business decisions, DMX might have had a more organized release strategy for his final works. Instead, conflicting narratives, court filings, and media leaks turned public sympathy into confusion. Fans remained loyal, but the business infrastructure, the tours, the merchandising, the estate management was compromised. Every delayed project, every contested document, served as a reminder that personal chaos doesn't end with the music it contaminates. The business ecosystem. NAS and careless legal drama extended beyond divorce settlements into multi-layered PR wars. Leaked court transcripts and social media posts from friends and allies painted a picture of calculated exposure, where Callis allegedly timed media statements to coincide with NAS album releases. Industry sources admit that the distraction harmed marketing efforts, streaming projections, and concert attendance. One insider commented, "When your personal life overshadows your art, fans start engaging with your narrative instead of your work." That's a death spiral for any career. Nas' creative genius remained intact, but the external perception of his brand suffered a measurable decline, proving that even legends aren't immune to the ripple effects of personal manipulation. Chance the Rapper's marriage and creative fallout offers a slightly different but equally shocking example. Leaked studio clips, marriage-focused social media posts, and subtle PR campaigns highlighting domestic bliss diluted his image as a raw, unfiltered artist. Music critics began to view his albums through a domestic lens, dissecting lyrics for marital subtext instead of musical innovation. Social media memes and commentary fueled the perception of domesticated Chance, creating a rift between fan expectations and artistic output. Engagement numbers reflected the shift. Streams and downloads stagnated while social commentary exploded. Even positive publicity became a double-edged sword. Success was reframed as evidence of losing the edge. Jeezy's public image also suffered under the weight of domestic drama. Legal filings, allegations of violence, and court battles over children's custody kept him in the news for all the wrong reasons. A source close to his management team said, "Every time Jeezy tried to drop a single or announce a tour, headlines were dominated by personal scandal. It forced us to delay marketing or even rebrand messaging entirely. Sponsors were hesitant. Fans were distracted. Courtroom exposure doesn't just affect personal reputation, it bleeds into financial opportunities. Collaborations and even long-term fan loyalty, finally. Even seemingly amicable breakups like Cordae and Naomi Osaka's had measurable fallout. Scheduling conflicts, social media scrutiny, and public curiosity over private matters slowed project timelines." A source in the sports and entertainment crossover industry remarked, "Even if no one is actively trying to manipulate the narrative, the weight of public attention can paralyze creative output. Fans are expecting transparency. Every delay becomes a talking point." The subtle sabotage of public perception, even in peaceful situations, demonstrates the delicate balance between personal life and professional momentum. Taken together, these examples reveal a chilling reality. Personal relationships in the hip-hop world are far from private. They are instruments of influence, sabotage, and manipulation. A spouse, partner, or even a domestic confidant can act as a silent saboteur, whether intentionally or not. Careers are affected, deals are lost, public perception is shifted, and artistic freedom is curtailed. The drama, the leaks, the social media chaos, the legal conflicts, they all intersect to shape careers in ways that fans, critics, and even the artists themselves may never fully understand. This is where the investigation uncovers the most shocking truth. The line between love and career sabotage is razor thin. What seems like domestic disagreement can quickly escalate into multi-million-dollar consequences, public humiliation, and irreparable damage. The very people trusted to support these artists' spouses, partners, confidants sometimes become the most powerful force influencing their professional destinies. And it doesn't stop with the big names. Across hip-hop, countless rising stars are quietly impacted by similar dynamics, proving that the industry is as much about personal power plays as it is about talent or artistry. The ripple effects of these manipulations aren't just financial, they are cultural. Social media becomes an amplifier, tabloids a weapon, and fan engagement a double-edged sword. Every misstep, every leaked text, every Instagram story becomes evidence in a public trial, where the verdict affects not just reputation but actual career sustainability. From Detroit to Hollywood, from New York to Atlanta, the message is clear. In hip-hop, personal life is not just personal, it is strategic, it is explosive, and it is capable of rewriting history. And as we move to the conclusion, the full scope becomes undeniable. The glamorous image, the red carpets, the platinum plaques, the sold-out tours, they are all just the surface. Beneath the glitter lies a world where personal relationships, often romantic, often intimate, act as unseen architects of success or disaster. These rappers' careers weren't just influenced by talent or industry connections, they were actively shaped, sometimes derailed, by the very people closest to them. Every relationship has consequences, and in the unforgiving spotlight of hip-hop, those consequences can be monumental. So, what does all of this tell us? Are these marriages, relationships, and domestic dramas really love stories? Or calculated career sabotage dressed up as romance? How many of your favorite rappers are quietly being manipulated, undermined, or even financially trapped by the very people they trusted most? And if someone as powerful as Kanye or Eminem can have their careers rocked by personal chaos, what hope do rising stars have in this merciless industry? We've exposed the leaks, the legal battles, the public meltdowns, and the Instagram storms, but the question remains, how much of what you see is real and how much is orchestrated behind the scenes? Is the glamour of hip-hop just a carefully curated illusion, Hiding a world where personal relationships can make or break billion-dollar careers overnight? We want to hear from you. Which rapper's wife or partner do you think had the biggest impact on their career? Do you believe these stories are pure chaos, or is there method to the madness? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's dissect the drama together if you're ready for more shocking truths. Deep dives into celebrity chaos and all the tea the media won't touch. Hit that like button. Subscribe and turn on notifications. Because in this world, the story behind the music is always bigger than the music itself.